Another day, another jumper. With the short days, it's not easy to get everything done and get your videoing done in one session. So now I want to look at my non-phalaenopsis type dendrobiums, the ones that are no blaze or look like no blaze even if they're not. I'm going to start with my species. This is the one I've had for longest. This is the Cooksoneanum variant of Dendrobium nobile. I bought it from Burnham's at the Harlow car event last year. I would say that it's the keiki because you've got a piece of stem there, so whether it was just a piece of stem cut off and this was the original keiki, I'm not honestly sure. It put up, get it so you can see it, it put up this cane last year after I'd bought it, topped it out. It was about the same size as the other one but stouter, so I was quite pleased with that. This year's cane is very nearly twice the size, very nearly twice that size. So that's really good. And I had started to back off the watering to try and encourage it to flower, because everything I've heard of is that things like my big nobile, which I'll get down in a second, the one that I got from IKEA, the spring dream type, that appears to flower almost willy-nilly, but the species, because they've evolved in a particular environment, everybody says these are a bit trickier to flower. But I don't know if you can see just there where my thumbnail is, but that's a nubbin. Absolutely no doubt whatever that that's a nubbin, and if so, I have to be the first one that's put out for me. But that is on probably a 2-year-old cane that's only got one leaf left. I can't see any signs of a nubbin yet on last year's cane or this year's cane. But as I say, I'd started to dry it off with the hope it was going to go. The roots were looking great. And what does it do to surprise me? Down here, where are we? Down there, we've got a new growth, which is coming out really quickly. So it's going to be very interesting to see quite how that one does over the next few months. But I'm pleased with that. That's obviously doing all right and settling quite nicely. Now then, we'll look at the other two, which you only saw the other day, because they've only just come from Burnham's. This is Albiflorum. It's slightly taller on this cane, which is only just finished topping out. That leaf is not quite completely uncurled and it's not tilted over at all yet. So this has barely finished growing. There's no signs of a new growth on it. There's reasonable roots come off this growth, so it's looking okay. And this has got flowers coming, but on what appears to be the previous cane, not the next to previous cane. So that's interesting. I don't know, obviously don't know why. I've not had it long enough. But that's Albiflorum, and those are the nubbins which you saw previously. Put my hand there so it focuses better. and Virginale, again only just finished topping out. If this cane was straightened, it's the tallest of the three species that I've got. This is flowering again on the previous cane, and it's got 3 on, the other one's got 2 on. It's going to be interesting to see how that's going. I don't particularly want to repot it yet. It's got a lot of roots, but it's got no new growth, so I'm going to have to let it flower and make sure I keep it well fed, because as I'll talk in a couple of seconds, my 2 Lady Colemans, one flowered last year and one didn't. This is the one that flowered. And it's doing something again. We've got a couple of growths, whether they are nubbins, whether they are cakeys, I've absolutely no idea at this stage. But it's this, we've got, that's on the last new growth. The current one came up late, came up very, very late. And I think, this is purely my personal opinion, that flowering took so much out of it that it just had to recover, and it sat there and absorbed nutrients and got its feet back underneath it again, and it pushed this cane out really fast. Now that's terminating, I'm fairly sure of that, but that's fine. It's a nice cane, it's slightly bigger than the previous one, and it looks like it's going to flower again. No more new growths yet, but that's fine. But look at this one. This cane is the same size as the big canes on the other example. It's got, I always forget that, getting the wrong way around. We've got a nubbin here and one right on the tip, which I found quite unusual, but that's got 2 coming. But with not flowering last year, it had the energy to push out this new growth much earlier, and that's now twice the size of the previous one. So this one is well set to really push on and go, and we've got a bump showing at the base of that, so I'm fairly sure we're not only going to get a couple of flowers, but we're going to get some new growths. Have a look at my Spring Dream. This really is a big plant, very, very big plant, for me anyway. I know you can get dendrobiums with canes that are feet long, although the spray didn't get all of the mealybugs, so that's going to have another one. It's done extremely well this year. We've got, we had this new growth, which is much bigger than anything else it's produced. We've got another new growth here, which has attracted mealybugs from somewhere. It has been sprayed, it'll have to be sprayed again now. But we've got flowers which have now opened fully. Now this is a Spring Dream. Those flowers will go completely white eventually, but I really do love those purple fringes that it gets when it first opens. I really wish it would keep them a little bit longer. In fact, they're fading already, because if you look at this one, which is just opening, you can see that they are much stronger. So yeah, that's got to come out and be given a really good spraying. get it. I've still got 3 keikis from that same Spring Dream, and this one, which has been kept in the same conditions as its parent, has put 2 buds out on this cane. There's no signs of any new growth. I'm just hoping that it won't knock it about too much, so I'm having to keep this very well fed. It's much smaller as you would expect. It's probably about 8 or 9 inches tall, and we can see what they can turn into. This is my only mounted plant. This is Dendrobium falco-rostrum, which Margaret East gave me when we did some swaps. It's not very happy. This old cane is dying back. The new one has got some active roots, but it's not great, and it's not putting anything else out. And I am really concerned about that. If it would put a new growth up, I'd have it off this mount and try and pot it. But until it does, I'm rather stuck with it. So all I can do is keep watering it and feeding it and seeing what it does. But I'm afraid that one I don't hold out any great hopes for, unfortunately. And when you consider that that huge great thing we looked at before is a noble A type, so is this one, which is not very big at all. This is Homana Lake Kumi, which I bought at the Bournemouth show back in March. It came all the way from Taiwan, and it was in moss, so it took a little while to settle. It threw a keiki, which I've potted, and that's ticking along. It's put out a new growth, quite a long, slender thing. It'll be interesting to see how far that gets, because it's a funny time of year to be putting keikis out, and the previous cane, as you can see, is nowhere near as big as the other one. But I'm not worried. It's got a new growth. It's beginning to go, so it's sort of settling into my conditions, which is all you can really ask. This is the other one that I got from the Taiwanese dealer. This is Frosty Dawn. Looks very, very similar to a noble A type, especially these bare canes, but it's not. It's a black hair type. It took a little while to get used to my conditions. This new growth, still going, still putting leaves up, so that's obviously doing okay. And then we've got some shorter canes over here. So it looks like the 2 ends of the plant are growing different sized canes. But it is growing and it's doing fine. And we've got roots that are clearly happy in this medium. So doing all right with that one as well. And then we've got one that again looks like a noble A, but isn't. This is the absolutely gorgeous miniature Oligophyllum. Flowers don't seem to last an awful long time. Probably a month the outside. This was the first one it's starting to go. That's the second one, and the stem where it joins the cane is looking a little bit off. We've got some more coming. There's several more buds to come, and even a new one starting just there. They really are minute when they kick off. and in the first stages you need at least a 20 times jeweler's loop to see what's happening. So that's my non-Phalaenopsis dendrobiums. Cotyledons, I've only got 3. Not really sure if what I can do with them is right. This one is Fimbriata. It's a rambler. Quite long gaps between the pseudobulbs. This time it put up 2 flower spikes. There's only one of them survived, but that's there, and that definitely looks like it's going to flower for me. It's been in this pot for a little while. Some bits of it aren't looking very good, so I think it's time it came out of there and had a look at, but at least I'm going to let it flower, and that's all right. This is Cristata, but it's Cristata var alba, and the alba variant is another rambler. The ordinary Cristata, the pseudobulbs are round and they nestle together. And on this one, the pseudobulbs are much more elongate, and you've got a considerable gap on the rhizome. I can see just there. I bought this from Burnham's at the same time as the Fimbriata and some other plants in an offer. It's grown, hasn't offered to flower. The new growths haven't always survived, so I really don't know if what I'm doing with this is right or wrong, although the pseudobulbs at the moment are nice and big and fat and plump. So really it's a case of just seeing what that's going to do in the next 12 months, and if these Cotyledons don't do any better than they have been doing, then I think these are going to have to go to new homes, because they're not for me. This one's Flaccida. The pseudobulbs are a completely different shape to Cristata. You would not really put them in the same genus just looking at the pseudobulbs. It's put out several new growths. Muggins managed to knock the best of them off. I was trying to clean the sheaths off and I actually managed to tug the whole thing away. I've got 3 new growths. 2 are doing quite nicely, one's not doing too bad. But just like as you said with the Cristata, I bought it in flower at an East Midlands Orchid Society meeting, in flower. There's no real signs of any flower spikes or anything yet, and I'm not convinced that Cotyledons are for me. So we'll see how we go. And now my last group, the Phalaenopsis. It's the ones, like most people, I've been keeping for longest. I've got some relatively small ones and a couple that, well, one that is big and one that was big and is slowly clawing its way back. The one that's in frame at the moment is Phalaenopsis Pink Twilight. It's physically a big plant. This spike, which is this one, is, well, I don't know how long it is. It'd probably be way out of shot if it was on a straight stick. I think it's finally stopped extending. We've got a bud which looks as if it's terminal, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 open. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 still to come. And these are big flowers. And then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on a spike on an old branch on an old spike. So this is going to need quite a lot of nurture after flowering like this, because as we all know, Phalaenopsis can flower for a very, very long time, and obviously it takes energy. So that is going to need careful nurturing. Now I'll stop the camera because all the others are smaller, and I can work them using my hands rather than leaving it on the table. The next one is, well, I bought it as Leodoro. I know you've got two variants, one where the seed and pollen parents are the other way around, which look very similar. This one isn't scented, so which one it is, I don't know. So I bought it as Leodoro, but that's as far as it goes. It's been flowering for a while. The spikes got some more buds on the tip, but they're not doing a lot. And we've got branches and other spikes and all sorts of things, but again, they're not really developing. Whether it needs to be a little bit warmer, because this is a pale-leafed one, I don't know. This is one of those that has that big pale leaf that sometimes you think, well, is it or isn't it? But nice plant, very pretty, very, very pretty. I do like that one. This is Minimark, which has been flowering for a very, very, very long time. You can see that the spikes come up, and it's had quite a lot of flowers which have come and gone, and it's still going, still extending. So this spike is going to be in flower for a long time, very long time. And bless his little cotton socks, we've got another spike started there. It's in a tall pot because it has a lot of roots, and I don't like chopping roots off for no good reason. But it's still putting more roots out, and they're all going down into the pot. So that's obviously very happy. This one, no ID, one that I bought last March when I was down for the Bournemouth Orchid Show. We had a couple of nights in Salisbury, and I bought it from M&S there. In the glass jar to keep lavender in. That's why I really bought it for the jar rather than the plant. Although the plant is lovely, it's yellow and orange, very, very pretty. And it's doing extremely well. It came out there's a video of it with me taking it out of the jar. And when I took it out, it came out in a pot. It appeared to be just in bark in the jar, and in fact it was in a pot with the bark filling the rest of the jar. So it came out, didn't need a lot of disturbing, but it has grown really well. The two leaves it's put up are much bigger than the ones that are below. It's put a lot of roots out, and now it's put a spike out. The roots are going all the way down into the pot. You can see they're really doing well. In fact, they are right through the bottom. And then there's this one. And this is, shall we call it a story? Something to learn from, perhaps. The appearances can be deceptive. This thing's been putting new leaves up, hasn't been looking too bad. Put a spike up, quite a nice little spike, it's got lots of buds on it. And it was putting out a lot of roots, ever such a lot of roots, but none of them were going into the medium. It was all turning into aerial roots, didn't want to put anything down. And I haven't really seen that often before, but usually when a lot of roots go aerial, and they don't want to go into the medium, there's something wrong with the medium. So I pulled it out of the pot, and there was, to all intents and purposes, no roots underneath the plant at all. There was nothing in the medium. It stayed too damp, and they'd rotted away. So I've taken it out of that, I put it into pure bark, repotted it, and all I can say is, I'll keep my fingers crossed. What else can you do? But it's quite a nice little plant, is that one, so it'd be nice to see that one recover. So that's my end of November review. Don't think there's a lot that I've missed, but thank you for watching, and I hope I'll see you soon. Bye.